Hey, welcome everyone, and thank you for the welcome back. I appreciate that. It was a hard couple of weeks. I was getting ill the first Wednesday, and mostly got better through the weekend, and then relapsed just before the next Wednesday. So my apologies. Part of the relapse was my own doggone fault. Eaten too soon when my stomach wasn't ready to really handle it yet, but so sorry about that, and I paid y'all. Hopefully, paid y'all back by just giving you credit for it. Just appreciate everybody's patience in that respect. So, anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little review in here with Kahoot. So let's have a little bit of fun there. We're gonna play in classic mode. Give me my cursor, please. Alrighty, the game pin is coming up on the screen. And Robert will type the game pin in the chat window as well. And we'll just wait for everyone to get joined, and we'll have a little bit of fun. We have 11 questions this time. Mostly they pertain to week 2 and 3, because we would have normally done this Kahoot on week 3. So we would have done it last week. So we're playing a little bit of catch up. That's okay. I usually like to do them on weeks 1, 3, and 7. 1, 3, 5, and 7. So we'll have another one next week too. So we'll have a little bit of fun 2 weeks in a row. Then I've got a couple of good topics that were submitted actually in week 2 that I want to discuss, because one of them is a topic I discuss every single blockchain class, simply because it's such an important topic, and it's so important that every single class, somebody has posted an article about it, at least in the first 2 or 3 weeks, every time. So it's important enough to talk about that everybody seems to gravitate toward it when they're posting their articles. So that's a good thing. So talking about it here is incredibly appropriate and important. So, okay, we have the masked. What is that? A chick for Robert?
That's what it gave me.
That's what it just gave you, huh? Robert promises to be good and not usurp everybody's credits there, and promises not to take the lead, but he likes to monitor what's going on to make sure that something's not going sideways during the Kahoot.
So David, for you, go to kahoot.it, and it will prompt you for a pin, and the pin is there in chat, but it is 9970122. Yep.
Okay.
And Jacob, I hear you say we have about a 15-second delay. Are you saying that the audio and video are out of sync, or that there's just a delay from what Kahoot's saying versus our stream? If you could clear that up, I'd appreciate it.
There is a built-in delay that YouTube automatically has, and it's about 7 or 8 seconds, and then we found that a lot of the video and audio were out of sync in our broadcast, so we had to work in a little bit of a delay on one or the other. I can't remember which. Robert probably would know. So yeah, there's a bit of delay in getting everything out. That's why we give everybody a full 60 seconds to answer each question, to make sure that we can make up for that delay, and I can get the responses and you can see the questions and so forth. So I'm making sure that David gets on so that we don't start no audio video issues, he says. Good. Just delay on the stream. Yeah, understandable there. Okay, still looking for David. Okay, let's just wait until David can get connected. Kahoot.it. If you're seeing the screen, it's listed up here on top of the screen. So on your device, you go into Kahoot.it, and there's Davio. Okay, and so I think we have everybody, don't you think, Robert? Got about 18? How many we have in the stream right now?
12?
Okay, yes. I love more. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
Hey.
Probably just a delay on the YouTube side. We're probably good.
Okay, very good. So let's get started. Okay, with 18 people, we ought to have a good time.
Okay.
Blockchain review, week number 3. Okay, and first question. What is not a type of crypto wallet? So we learned a little bit about crypto wallets the last couple of weeks. So which one is not a crypto wallet? Red is custodial, blue is hot, yellow is cold, and green is public. Which one's not really a wallet? That kind of reminds me, I got a new wallet today. Not a crypto wallet, just a real wallet.
Made of real leather.
Made of real, well, that might be debatable.
Oh.
But it looks like leather anyway.
Sure.
So I had so totally worn mine out that it was, threads were starting to come off the sides, because it was not real leather. It's hard to get a real leather one without spending $100, and I'm not going to spend $100 on a stupid wallet of all things. All right, so we have a split decision here. Public wallet is not a real wallet. There's no such thing as a public crypto wallet for. That means everybody would basically, just have access to the wallet. A custodial wallet is something you'd find at Coinbase or an exchange if you parked your money at an exchange, okay? So that's what a custodial wallet is. A cold wallet is when you decide that you're not going to keep it on an exchange and you have it either on a hardware device or you print the QR code that pertains to your wallet so you can recreate your wallet on your computer. And then a hot wallet is one that you keep on your computer and it stays connected to, let's say, the Bitcoin network, and it's a Bitcoin wallet or it's an Ethereum wallet, and it stays connected to the network 100% of the time. So that would be considered a hot wallet. So the one that loses out here is the public wallet. So that would be the correct answer. Uh-oh, we've got no audio?
I'm seeing audio on my end. Let me...
Okay, is anybody else getting no audio?
I'm still getting audio on
Yeah.
the output here.
I mean, Mr. Z said there was no audio issues.
Okay.
So let's get any confirmation that somebody can hear audio out there. Stream's good on my end.
Okay. Well, do try to refresh it if possible. Hopefully that fixes it for you.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so Caitlin, Caitlin, work on your audio issues and let's see what you can do to fix it on your end, okay? Because everybody else here seems to be fine. All right, let's go on to the next question. Who got first place on this one? It looks like Kate answered the question the fastest and got it correct. All right, next, let's go with question 2. Distributed ledgers are what? They're Bitcoin in red, or blue, data held on nodes in a blockchain, or yellow, books of account, or green, another name for a blockchain. So we want what it really is. 3 of them are imposters. 1 of them is the correct answer. Oh, Keisha's got it working now. That's good.
Oh, good.
That's good. Okay, 29, 28. Okay, have 6 answers. We get up to 18 and we can go.
I find questions like this to be somewhat cryptic for the podcast. Are we talking about the distributed side of the ledger, or are we talking about the crypto term distributed ledger, which I think is what we're going for in this question, is what does the crypto term distributed ledger mean?
Or blockchain term distributed ledger, because it's one of the building blocks. And most people know the answer to that question. That is cool. Yes, it is data held on the individual nodes. Each node has a ledger of their own, and that's partly what makes it so difficult to hack into a a blockchain because you have the data distributed. You'd have to hack and correct all of the data on all of the network nodes. Okay, very good. Let's see who ends up on top this time. Little bit of shuffling from second place on, but Kate kept the lead there. Okay, blockchains are of no use at all to business. True or false? Do. I'll bet you we have 100% on this question. You think?
Unless somebody gets caught up in the double negative.
Okay.
Trying to give excuses for somebody who misclicks or something. I don't know.
Yep. Blue is true if you want to select that, and red is false if you want to select that. And we have 13 answers in.
Okay.
Okay. And we have 100%.
Good.
Yoo-hoo!
That was
Okay.
the gimme question.
Jacob Z has a highest answer streak of 3. But he still isn't answering quick enough to beat Kate yet. Okay, well, let's go to the next question.
Wait, wouldn't everybody technically above him? Oh.
Have all the correct answers? Yeah, you would think so. Okay, businesses gain efficiencies by red, accepting Bitcoin as payments, or blue, providing NFTs to represent their product lines, or green, let's go yellow first, reducing the number of intermediaries in a process, or green, deploying blockchain to improve the image of the company. I think we've only got 14 people online anymore for some reason.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, because it completed early at 14 last time. So
Yeah, we might have had a few people who disconnected or reconnected, so I had a higher count or something.
Okay.
That's happened before.
Yeah, because we didn't have that many people online.
Right.
Yeah. So it's self-corrected a bit. That's good. All righty, yellow, reducing the number of intermediaries in the process, and the majority has it. That is the correct answer. We do have a little bit of FOMO, in other words, fear of missing out going on, and that would be the green answer. Deploying blockchain just to improve the image of the company, saying, hey, we're high tech. Well, that doesn't work for very long. Providing NFTs to represent your product lines. Some companies are doing that, but that doesn't really improve efficiencies. What improves efficiencies is getting rid of the waste between steps in a process. So very good for the majority. And Tyler now has 4 in a row, and he's slipped to number 1. What happened to Kate? Kate completely dropped out of the top 5. Okay.
Got tripped up by that one, I think.
I bet we'll see Kate back though.
Yeah.
All right. What is not a building block of blockchain? Coins or tokens is red. Trust is blue. Privacy is yellow. And shared ledger is green, which is not a building block of blockchain. Little bit tricky here.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get pretty split answers on this one.
Okay.
Yep. Remember what the building blocks are. We had a specific chapter on the building blocks of blockchain versus the elements of blockchain. All righty, we got 11 answers in. Let's get a couple more. One more to answer. And we, like I said, we usually get quite a split decision. Mm-hmm. But coins or tokens is correct. Coins or tokens are not a building block of crypto. Trust and shared ledgers and privacy, those are all the building blocks of the success of a blockchain. So a little bit of a trick answer there because there's elements and then there's building blocks. So let's see, Tyler, skip down and control. First time we've seen him in the lead there. All righty, let's move forward. 6. What is not a consensus algorithm? So we talked a bit about different consensus algorithms, which is one we've not talked about. Those not remembering what we haven't talked about is harder than remembering what we have, I'm sure.
Right. And several of these are not very common. In fact, I think only one of them is common. You want to read out the answers?
Oh, okay. Red is proof of burn. Blue is proof of work. Yellow is proof of capacity. And green is proof of identity. Okay. Alrighty, you've got 10 answers in. Nice picture of the European Union headquarters there in Brussels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got 12 answers in. Okay, well, proof of identity is not. Although I might have to revise this one because the new unicorn coin that we talked about in week 1, the new unicorn coin is using a thing called proof of trust. And that is so close to the idea of proving your identity or proving you're a trusted player in the network so that you can provide consensus. Might actually get confusing there. But proof of identity is not a consensus algorithm currently. But proof of burn, boy, I tripped 7 of you up on the proof of burn. Now, what proof of burn is, and it's really, really weird, you have to burn off a certain number of coin in order to provide consensus to the network. And if you provide more consensus in the network than others, you get to have the reward. So it's kind of gambler's poker here, you know. How much do I have to burn in order to get it all back? Really kind of weird. I never was able to wrap my head around it. I think there's only 1 or 2 networks that do that, and they're rather obscure anyway. So, but proof of burn is real. It's real and kind of quirky as far as I'm concerned. So, boy, we have a lot of shuffling. Okay, KC ended up on top this time. And Jacob has 6 in a row, and he's still in second there. Okay, he thinks of his answers, that's why. Okay, having a wallet on an exchange like Coinbase is an example of a cold wallet. True or false? Blue if it's true, and red if it's false. What kind of a wallet is a Coinbase wallet?
Didn't we just talk about cold wallets?
I think we did. And I think I used Coinbase as an example.
Uh-oh.
So if you remember just the discussion in this week's Kahoot, you'd get the right answer there. I forgot this question was coming up.
Or we should just not play the game on shuffle mode.
Ah. Yeah.
Oh, well.
We have a split decision too.
Ooh.
Coinbase is an example of a custodial wallet. Coinbase is the custodian. They hold our private key. And literally, what you're looking for is who holds that private key. You have a private key and a public key, 2 of them in a blockchain. When you're dealing with cryptocurrencies, the person who holds that private key dictates whether it's a hot wallet if it's on your computer, cold wallet if it's on a piece of paper or on a piece of hardware that you extract from the computer, and it's a custodial wallet if Coinbase or some other entity is holding it for you. Okay, good discussion point thing to clear up there.
As some diehard Bitcoin fans might say, not your key,
Not your
money.
coin. Yeah.
So be very careful.
Not your key, not your coins.
Yeah, there you
They always talk about it on Reddit. You have to spend money to spend money. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they talk a lot of it about it on Reddit, about the fact that if they're not your keys, they're not your wallet, not your money. Because literally, when we talk about the Mt. Gox problem, when we talk about FTX, when we talk about all of those exchanges that have gone under, literally because they've either stolen your money or got hacked, in that situation, you lose your money because it's a custodial wallet. In other words, you didn't lose your money, they lost your money, and so you're left in the cold either way. So this situation literally is a cold wallet is the best way to go. So Jacob, with his streak of 7 in a row, has finally taken the lead. That was a long time in coming. Alrighty. Question number 8. What does trustless mean? Red is trust is earned, not from code. Or blue is you can't rely on it. That's what trustless means. Yellow is trust comes from the government in fiat currency. Green is not having to rely on individuals but on computer code. And we have Steve Jobs standing there lecturing you. Which means nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. It's just the character I decided to put there.
Oh, okay.
$11 answers have come in. We got 12. Give us one more. 13. Okay. 14 answers. 15th person must have joined in. Okay, there we go. And the majority has the correct answer. That's good. Not having to trustless in the sense of, cryptocurrencies means that you're relying on the code to manage the intermediaries that would normally be in the system. So let's say that you had a blockchain that was managing your real estate transactions. You go to a trust company in order to sign all your documents, and they make sure the money gets from the buyer to the seller. They make sure that your title is filed. They make sure the lien holder gets on the title. They make sure the mortgage company transfers the money to you and that they get the paperwork that they need. That's an intermediary. They do all of that, and you pay them a fairly hefty fee for it. So what happens in a Bitcoin network or a network for blockchain is all those intermediaries go away and you rely on the smart contracts or rely on the code to accomplish all of those tasks in between. And the mortgage company, in the case of real estate, the mortgage company and the buyer and the seller and the title company, all of those entities would be part of the blockchain and do each of their parts. And when it comes time to flip the switch, the contract executes and sends everything to where it needs to be instead of having to go in and sign papers. So I would love for there to be that situation the next time I buy a house, but I don't think we're going to get there quite yet. So
paradoxically, the fact that it's trustless is somewhat of what's enabled a lot of the hacks that have happened in the past, because the trustless system is built on these smart contracts, at least in part. Mm-hmm. And poorly written contracts, people find loopholes and they're able to steal money and do stuff. So the trustless means there's not somebody there checking it who's trusted.
But on a Bitcoin network, for example, you trust that there isn't any intermediary between me sending coin to you. Okay. Now, in that case, Bitcoin network has never been hacked.
Right.
Okay. It is the premier trusted network out of all of them.
Yep.
Ethereum has got problems. It's challenged. Well, Jacob keeps on extending his lead, so let's see if we have some challengers here. He just keeps on getting them all right. So let's see if somebody can dethrone him. I'm sure he's watching out for that. What creates value in a blockchain? Red, solving a real-world problem. Blue, being well distributed. C, or yellow, having a coin rise in price. And green, being backed by real fiat currency. All right, let's see who we can trip up with this one. Can't this be put in a flow chart? And of course, Blue Lightning responds. I have to remember. Jacob Z responds. That's cool. All right, we have 14 answers in. We're looking for one more probably. Okay, well, the majority have it, yes, but we tripped people up on being well distributed. Value is created by solving a real world problem. A real world problem, of course, is something that can make business money. For example, solving a supply chain problem, solving a provenance problem for the food that you put out in your store or the wines that you're selling on your shelf. Solving a real world problem is what gives a blockchain value. And frankly, there's a lot of blockchains looking for a problem to solve. And unfortunately, all they do is collect your money usually and run away with it, because if they can't find a problem to solve, they've just collected a bunch of money and scratch their heads and say, I think I'll go play in some other sandbox. So, well, let's see if Jacob was one of the ones that got the question right here. Okay. Jacob, did you actually get it wrong? Okay.
No.
He's still on the top, though. Jacob. I have failed, he says.
And the biggest thing to remember is this is a value is a term created by economists to describe the economy. It's not a blockchain term. It's an economics term.
Yep. So, creating value is a business term. Yes, very definitely. How do blockchains build trust? Red, by not using fiat currency. I'd say that's a good start, but let's see what other answers we have. Blue, by creating an immutable record, and yellow, by making stakeholders purchase coin. That's how they build trust. Green, by not changing the algorithm. How do blockchains build trust? And we're getting the answers in. We're up to 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we're getting there. 13, 14. Okay, good. Yes. A good solid majority there. By creating an immutable record is how they build trust. They build trust through transparency, and the immutable record means that you can go back, look at that record, see exactly what happened. If there's any adjustments to be made, you can see the adjustments as well as the initial record, and that's the whole point. Alrighty. And Tyler is back with an answer. Streak of 3. Good. Alrighty. He's the big streaker at the moment. Okay.
Final question.
All right. Governance can be written into a blockchain. True or false? Governance can be written into a blockchain. And we got blue for true and red for false. All right, we're getting the answers in. All right. All right. Didn't fool too many people here at all. So, governance, yes, very definitely, especially during the development process of the blockchain itself. The governance is written right into the blockchain, right along with the rest of the development. So that is cool. That is really, really cool. So let's see who hits the podium this time. And number 3 is Tyler. Oh, so Tyler came out from the bottom and came up to number 3. Control. But did Jacob end up beating everyone? And Jacob stayed in the lead. All righty. Jacob, did you only miss one? Was it only one that you missed?
Gave himself a gold medal there.
Yeah, I see that.
Good job.
I see that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and how do we close this out, Robert? Have you
I
remembered?
think you can just close the window.
Okay. If I can get control of my cursor again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only missed one. Okay.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All righty. Are we ready for the next topic?
I think so.
Okay. The two articles that I'm going to present each present 5 problems that they see in deploying blockchains throughout the world. Okay. Now the first issue that I have with this first article is number 1, right at the top. It's written by Cointelegraph. They are a crypto site, so they're going to focus their ideas and information on the crypto world. So they should, I really wish the world out there of writers would understand there's a difference between blockchains that business would deploy and blockchains that some businesses are deploying that mainly manage coin. Like, for example, Ethereum with their smart contracts, they focus mostly on financial concerns. Transferring money and building up various financial types of mechanisms, and there's some that do it rather successfully, especially a coin called Compound, for example, that's not based on Ethereum. Compound does it very, very well. In fact, Compound is used has been used since before the crypto crash, when Bitcoin went up to 62 and came on down and a whole bunch of crypto companies went out of business. Compound is really in the banking arena of the financial business, and they do quite well. They survived because they have everything in a very strict, tight manner of business. You can put money in there, you can earn money just like a bank, like a savings account. You buy Compound, you invest it, they loan it out, but they have very strict methods of loaning out and accepting, coin in. Not like some of the others, like FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried described, where, you just create this box and you don't know what's going in the box. You just have people invest in the box, and as the box gets bigger, it's worth more. That's a scam, where Compound is quite the opposite, on the opposite side. So Cointelegraph is going to focus more on coin and the blockchains that it is familiar with. And so it's not surprising that the key challenges they come up with is security issues. Now, we've talked about the amount of hacks that have happened. And week 1, we covered an article that was about the number of hacks that have happened. And remember, we talked about the fact that most of those hacks happen in the smart contract space in Ethereum. And so what do they come down here? Organizations in all industry sectors will face a complicated, potentially contentious array of difficulties, okay, as the blockchain ecosystem matures and additional use cases arise. So the first thing they talk about is a 51% attack. You don't have 51% attacks in business blockchains. If a business decides they want a blockchain to manage their supply chain, they're going to go to a company like IBM. It's not going to be a public blockchain, and it's only in public blockchains where you have the possibility of a 51% attack. Now, here's the reason why. In the early days of even Bitcoin, they had a threat, a very real threat of a 51% attack. They kept the number of people using Bitcoin at first to a closely held group of people, a closely held group of trusted individuals. Now, some of those individuals wanted to grow really, really fast, and they had more than 51% of the computing power. They were trusted individuals. They stayed within the confines of what was expected of them. And as they slowly grew out and had more and more people providing more and more computing power, the threat of a 51% attack diminished over time until it's pretty much non-existence for Bitcoin, because it's just so widely distributed now. Now, the way that a 51% attack works is a particular consortium of people have enough computing power that they can overpower the network and force certain transactions through that would not be accepted in the normal network. In other words, they could steal Bitcoin from people, take and acquire a whole bunch of Bitcoin from wallets where they didn't actually send, for example, coin, and send it to a wallet and force that transaction through the network. That's if they had enough computing power to overcome the network. Same would be true in Ethereum or Monero or any other public blockchain. So 51% attacks, one has, from what I understand, there's only been one or two that's ever been accomplished. They haven't really ever stolen much, but it keeps coming up as a security problem in the networks when a crypto company says there's a security problem. Well, I don't think it's mostly talking here about permissionless systems, and that's a dead giveaway. Permissionless systems are public blockchains, okay? Ones that can't really validate every single user, but allow through their consensus algorithm to make sure that everybody can join. In other words, I can create a wallet right tomorrow and I've joined the Bitcoin system. You know, it's very easy to do, but that's where the 51% attack idea comes from. So not really a valid concern when you talk about Bitcoin for business, not really a valid concern when they're talking about businesses deploying blockchains. So we'll pass on that one. Let's go on. The next one, flash loan attacks. Flash loan attacks happen when you've got a poorly written smart contract. And so most of the hacks have been where hackers have come in and given themselves a loan really quick and then scooted away with taken that money before the contract was fully executed and removed the money from the smart contract to another wallet. Okay? That's a flash loan attack. In other words, I'm going to quickly make myself a loan, and through code, I'm going to make the loan, steal the money, and when money is not there to collateralize the loan, basically the smart contract fails and the network stops. So they end up with non-collateralized loan. And you notice it's in the DeFi ecosystem, which is mostly on the Ethereum blockchain at this point, and some other blockchains that also offer smart contracts. Okay, so they cite $200 million in the Pancake Bunny. Now, tell me, if I'm managing a supply chain and I want to go into business managing a supply chain, why would I be concerned about coins? I'd be concerned about tokens that represent supplies going from one position to another, but the tokens only represent information. They are not resaleable coins, and they're not public either. So everybody is there in order to get the information. They don't care about the coin itself because there's no public marketplace for the coins if you're in a business blockchain. Okay? So
I'd like to also note that a lot of these, they're being defined as hacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, somebody's been late on their loan before. That's not a hack to be late on your loan. It's not a hack to not have any money in your account when you have to pay your loan. They use code to execute it, but it's not a hack as in they broke the algorithm to inject some malicious code to do something, by a guy in his basement. It's, for the most part, these are just exploiting poorly written code.
They're exploiting poorly written code, And the way they're doing the flash loan thing is what you're referring to. They take out the loan, and then the rest of the contract has to run to use money coming from a wallet here. And before they secure the money for the collateral, the coin for the collateral, they take the money from the loan and the collateral coin and leave.
Okay.
So they're left with the loan unpaid, and they've got both the loan money and their money, and away they go.
Okay.
So that's why they refer to that as a hack, but that's poorly written smart contract code.
Right.
Absolutely. They shouldn't be able to get the loan before it's collateralized.
Right. And part of the reason why I push back on that is because the idea of hacking, actually hacking a crypto, is really far out there, because the actual algorithms which secure the code cannot be cracked by today's computing standards. Cannot.
Yeah, once it's on the blockchain.
Right. So,
Until it gets on the blockchain from the smart contract.
exactly. Yeah. So all these hacks are not crypto problems, technically, I guess, but that might be
Technically.
splitting hairs.
Yep. And so besides hack attack, blockchains are also susceptible to coding loopholes. And honestly, that coding loophole is mostly in the smart contracts. Now they talk about centralization of information, and that really goes back to the idea of immature blockchains that don't get enough users established before going public. And when they don't do that, they're not centralized enough, and they're allowed to basically get a 51% attack. So another major problem is centralized blockchain systems faces susceptibility to rug pulls. Well, if IBM writes me a blockchain for my supply chain, there's no such thing as a rug pull, because people aren't coming from the outside investing money so that the owners can abscond with it and leave. I mean, it's just not reasonable to suggest that. So we have Cointelegraph basically following the idea of these are going to be blockchains that we're used to in the crypto space, and not blockchains from IBM or from Oracle or from any number of blockchain vendors that literally write blockchains for business and business only. Okay. Low scalability. Bitcoin is not scalable. It would never, at this point, the way it's currently constituted, be able to compete with Visa or MasterCard or any but other financial debit card or system. They literally handle trillions of transactions in a few seconds. And so there's just no way that when it takes 10 minutes to close a transaction in the blockchain network, that you're going to compete with that kind of volume. So if you're looking at that, or even if you're looking at Ethereum, which, even if you're looking at Ethereum, they're slow networks in comparison to true financial networks that are out there that have been perfected over a number of years and have bazillion number of servers out there just processing transactions away. So at this point, if you're only looking at blockchain from a coin perspective, a cryptocurrency perspective, you literally don't have the kind of extensibility and scalability that you need. Now, the problem is, when you go to IBM, they're not going to have a consensus method like proof of stake or even proof of burn or proof of work. Those consensus methods, they're not even thinking of those. They're thinking of consensus methods that merely basically put a rubber stamp on transactions that basically distribute it around to the various distributed nodes and move on. They can literally transact trillions of transactions per second within those kind of blockchains, and don't need to worry about a proof of work mechanism that makes sure that a public blockchain stays secure, because the security in those is the login when people come in. People working in it are already trusted, already validated. They don't need to have another trust mechanism to keep the bad actors out. Plus, there's not any value in maybe stealing information, but definitely not stealing coin or money. Okay, And frankly, in a supply chain type of an application, there's not that much data in a supply chain application to really understand. I mean, everybody knows where Boeing buys all the parts for their planes, and if they ran a supply chain application that told where they buy all their product, yeah, you might have some competitive advantage saying, I'm going to go negotiate with them and get them not to work with Boeing at all, or some strange thing like that. But a little bit far-fetched in being able to get enough of that data to really make a difference. So if you're dealing with just cryptocurrencies, yes, there's a scalability problem, not in the business side, and that's the whole point here. Okay, side chains, a solution to the scalability issue. Side chains operate on the Ethereum blockchain network, so a lot of times you'll have like the Polygon network they mention here. Polygon network runs all of its transactions through Ethereum, but the Polygon network works on has its own servers that process its own transactions and then merely record them onto the Ethereum network. So that's considered a side chain. So they process their own data, but just pass the information to Ethereum as they go on. Now that helps it to be more extensible, and they're going to be as Ethereum grows, they're going to also do another mechanism. Maybe you can help me with the term.
Sharding?
Sharding, yeah. They're going to introduce sharding later this year, which will allow different pieces of the network to operate independently and then just record transaction, very similar to side chains. Mm-hmm. So it'll go forward. Okay, and then we come to this stupid one. Energy consumption. Okay, Bitcoin consumes a lot of energy. And frankly, if every single business, used proof of work for their consensus method, they would consume the same amount of electricity if they wanted to perform that many transactions. The challenge is, blockchain for business doesn't use proof of work as a consensus mechanism. So this is just a non-argument when it comes to blockchain for business. The consensus method is totally different. They run off of business servers. In fact, they tend to be lighter weight servers than most of the servers that handle Teradata warehouses or IBM warehouses or any of the other warehousing that they use in any of these large corporations. They'll actually use less transactional energy than any of those. So he can talk all he wants about how much energy is consumed by Bitcoin and others, just doesn't pertain. Low workforce availability. Now that might be a concern.
Before we jump into that real quick, at the very top of your page, the very last two sentences, it first off shows the age of the article, but it mentions that Ethereum is estimated to use about 73 terawatt hours of power annually, and it's forecasted to drop by 99.95%.
When Ethereum 2 rolls out.
Right.
And Ethereum 2 did already roll out, so it does state the article.
Yeah.
So when they went from proof of work to proof of stake, it dropped by almost 100% there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always have in the back of my mind, one counterpoint to the whole it's using all the world's energy. Recognize that these super poor areas that Bitcoin miners are going to that are using up all the electricity, we're hearing all the humanitarian problems and everything else. Recognize that on the other side of the balance sheet are hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into those countries. Those super poor countries, once they leave, well, guess what? The money stays in the country for quite a while.
Yeah. And
they have enriched those areas significantly. So there's always two sides to that coin. We can't just say, oh no, it uses power. Power is bad.
Yep. So true. Like El Salvador has been a Bitcoin haven for many, many years. Them accepting Bitcoin was just kind of a natural evolution of the acceptance of Bitcoin all along. They're working Bitcoin usage into their general population at this point, and they've got a long ways to go before it's even close to 50%, much less 100%. But the work goes on there. But they've got places there where they've got geothermal plants powering Bitcoin miners, and those Bitcoin miners are allowing money to flow into their economy And frankly, the power is free. They built the infrastructure. Now they just have to maintain the infrastructure, which is pennies on the dollar compared to the cost of running a coal-fired plant or whatever that we run around here. So, okay, low workforce availability, though, could be an issue. I was reading an article earlier that that there were some, can't remember the exact numbers, but a lot of demand, much more demand than there were Bitcoin blockchain programmers. So there is a need for blockchain programmers. It's almost getting as high as the need for security analysts, for cybersecurity type analysts. The wave isn't as strong right now as security and cybersecurity analysts, but you're going to see probably in the next 5 years that the next wave of demand is going to be in the blockchain space. It'll need a chance to mature, but it's getting there. Okay, so low workforce availability and difficult to implement. Well, low workforce availability, yes, difficult to implement. There are only a handful of competent blockchain programmers that can help you deploy a blockchain. So that's the one article. If we go over to the next article, 5 biggest problems everybody must know about. I love the way they get so inflammatory on their article headings. So as we go down in this one, he talks about scalability, and we've pretty much already addressed that. We talk about energy consumption, and we've already addressed that. And security. Let's see what he says about companies are working to improve security of blockchain networks or security efforts. Oh, smart contracts. There have been instances of, this is just a FUD piece. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. He doesn't give actual examples. He's not really, he's just parroting somebody else who says there might be security problems, and there have been examples in the past, but so, not much to talk about there. Complexity, yeah, it's a complex application to deploy. You've got to connect it to your current data, so you've got to have APIs between the blockchain and what it's working on outside your company, connected with what is happening inside your company so that you can collect your data, and you have to have your consortium members that are all part of that network, like the TradeLens network that we've talked about, where it had 16 total consortium members. You have to differentiate between their data versus your data, but you have to plug your data into your current systems in order to use it. You've got to plug it into your data warehouses so your analysts can analyze what's going on with the data. People have to be able to purchase if it's a supply chain thing, so they have to connect your current purchasing systems to the blockchain to send that data outward and to purchase with. So yes, there is some complexity. I would love to be on a blockchain project to see all the touch points. I have not had that opportunity. Boeing wasn't mature enough in doing that to get to that point. Interoperability, and that's kind of what I just talked about. It has to be interoperable with your applications. This particular one says that it has to be compatible with other blockchains. I would tend to dispute that because, I don't necessarily want my IBM written blockchain application that I have my consortium members a part of trying to connect to other blockchains out there. Don't know that I have a value in that. So not probably very viable to connect to other ones. And plus, he's talking about cryptocurrencies and tokens here that, they're trying to connect different blockchains in the crypto space. So this guy is obviously familiar more with the crypto space and going to parrot back those challenges that are found in the crypto space, but not the business space. So the message that I'm trying to get across here, and I need to wrap this up, message I'm trying to get across here is that you have to be sure of the article and the focus of the article. What I'd really like to see is if there's an article written by somebody who is smart enough to go to IBM or Oracle or any of the large blockchain developers and really talk about the challenges that they have in pulling a blockchain into a corporation and building a consortium and getting it to have a viable number of people in it, minimum viable ecosystem, they call it. I would like to see the challenges from an IBM standpoint or an Oracle standpoint or any one of those large companies, and let them tell you what their hurdles are that they are trying to overcome. And I guarantee you that it won't be power consumption, and it won't be extensibility or scalability. It'll be other things that they're worried about, much, much more than any of those issues, because I don't think those issues are even viable in the business realm. So, any other comments, Robert, before we
No,
call
just
the roll?
one quick one on interoperability. That's hard. Businesses have been making their data available to other people for a really long time. APIs exist for all sorts of data sets.
Yeah,
if
so
you're
true.
trying to get your blockchain to give data to somebody, there are API standards that you can write that anybody can plug into anytime they want. Access can plug into it.
Yep.
That's really not an issue if you're looking at just use of data, which is much more common for the business side.
Yeah, and frankly, the TradeLens system, once you got deep enough into understanding where it was, it had an API for most port systems, most customs systems for companies and their putting cargo onto a ship and taking it off the ship. They had APIs going all over the place. It's just too bad that we can't go explore that it's not actually running anymore, because it was fascinating to go in and poke around and see, because they made a lot of it available. IBM really opened it up so people could really see what they were doing and made it transparent.
Yeah, they're trying to build trust with other businesses.
Absolutely. So let's call the roll call, and I'll take any questions that happen to come up on the screen here, and I'll answer them. And when the questions kind of dwindle out, and when the number of folks dwindle that are online, I'll close the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was telling you this morning, one of these years you need to deploy a blockchain and track when you're planting your garden and when you're harvesting your garden. Find some weather API out there to pull that data in, put that, package up into a blockchain so you can scan a label on every package when you're done.
And I can scan it in Microsoft Access and make sure it gets on the blockchain through Access, interfacing with the blockchain. Yeah. Okay. You have a good night too, Jacob.
Okay. I think we're back good.
I think we're good. I'm not seeing any more questions pop up. All right. We'll see you again later. Thanks.